What is up, YouTube? I'm Devon DaVinci, leader of the Renaissance Crew, and you're watching DaVinci Reacts. Now, this is a video that honestly could be kind of controversial, but the reason why I'm watching this is because I'm really fascinated in this particular part of Irish and British history. This is one of these topics that, as an outsider, I probably will never know exactly like what the full story is, because there's probably so much context involved that I will never be able to fully grasp like what like who was on the right, who was on the wrong, what the true purposes behind everything was and whatnot, because the only two people that are really telling the story are the British and the Irish, and it seems like there's two sides and there's not really a middle ground to go to. So I probably will just look at objective facts and then just, you know, understand their context involved for certain things, so don't judge fully. But I did want to do this video because I am interested in learning more about this particular period in time, which is funny because I made a comment in one of the videos about how it seems like over in the UK and in Ireland, like, you guys don't take naming events very serious. Like in America, we have like Black Friday, not Black Friday, Black Tuesday, and you know, like 9/11 and like these serious sounding names, whereas you guys have like the Troubles. It's just an inconvenience, you know. These are the trouble times. That's all. The only time y'all have named something that sounded badass was when y'all, like, that event Bloody Sunday. That sounds badass, but everything else about your events are very small. I wonder what you call the Revolutionary War. Like, to us, it's the War of Independence, the American War of Independence. I wonder what the hell you call that. The brats acting up. Like, what is the name for that war? But with that being said, let's jump into this and see what it has to offer. This is a video that was made by Feature History. I will have a link for their channel at the end of this video, so if you want to see more of their content, feel free to go to the link that's going to pop up the last 30 seconds right around here. You can click on it, go check out their channel, watch the other videos and everything else. I will have a link for the original video also in the description box down below. So in the event that you want to watch the video on your own, or if you're a reactor yourself and you want to do a reaction to it, that is the link that you will use to get the original video. Also, watch the original video before you watch my reaction. That's the best way you can show them support, and that's how they get, you know, money for their ad revenue and stuff. So if you really want to support them, watch the original video. Now with that being said, there is another video they did called The Fall of Yugoslavia, which is a video I want to watch also, because that's another situation that, like, as an American, we're kind of ignorant on. We don't know a lot. Like, there's still Americans, I guarantee, that believe that Yugoslavia is still a country. And we don't quite understand, like, just how serious that split was and how many different ethnic groups and just people in general that, like, hated each other in that same area. So just calling everyone Yugoslavic is probably like an insult. So you should probably understand and learn about that particular time. So yeah, I'm going to check that out as well. But with that being said, let's jump into this and see what it has to offer.
Oh, diddly-dee, a leprechaun put a bum in me potato. Ah!
What the hell?
Now, with all the Irish people having been disgusted and left, we can start.
What the hell?
Hello and welcome to Feature History, featuring the impatiently awaited and source of much pester, the Troubles. A rather understated name for a 30-year-long period of sectarian violence at its finest. It formed both the issues and the culture of our contemporary Northern Ireland, and is such a relevant topic today, you can expect many unwanted opinions in the comments. Enough about that though, we have 2 videos worth of controversy to get through here, and now. And later when the second part goes up. For the source of the Troubles, you can go all the way back to 1169, with the Norman conquest of Ireland. But for the sake of brevity, I'm going to try
Normans
to
were the British, right?
Irish leaders for many
Or the
centuries would
English.
struggle politically with English kings, and this peaked with the Protestant Reformation that saw the majority of England turn Protestant with their monarchy, and the majority of Ireland remained Catholic. A rebellion in the late 16th century saw new
Partly
efforts to
religious,
assimilate
like
the
I
Irish
assumed.
by just replacing who the Irish were. Protestant English and Scottish were sent to Ireland to attempt to colonise the island, and saw success in the north, or as it is otherwise known by, Ulster. The following English Civil War and Glorious Revolution would see the Irish Catholics ally with the losing side, leading to penal laws being placed on them by the Protestant English Parliament. During the Great French Wars, the French would provoke a Protestant-led rebellion for Irish independence, which caused the British government to claim Ireland as a core part of their kingdom and bring them under further control. Concessions would be made with the Catholic emancipation in 1829, but it did little to improve their position. The damage had been done, and many Catholics were still made to live on the poorer land. A turning point would be the decimation caused by the Irish potato famine in 1845. 1 million deaths
I did a reaction
exacerbated by
to
British
that from
mismanagement caused the
Extra
Irish to
History. If
demand
you want
for
to
an
watch
Irish
that,
parliament.
maybe a card to pop
Some
up.
demanded for full Irish independence, but the most popular movement was that of Home Rule. It'd see a self-governed Ireland within the United Kingdom. Its bill would finally be passed in 1912, much to the scrutiny of the mostly Protestant Ulster loyalists in the north. It'd however be placed on hold given the outbreak of the First World War. Some more radical Irishmen would come out against British rule in 1916, dubbed the Easter Rising. It'd fail, but when the insurrectionists were executed by the government, the rebels would become martyrs. Their fringe movement turned to public outrage. 73 members of the Irish Republican Party, Sinn Féin, would be elected to the British Parliament in 1918, and would refuse to attend the Parliament in London, instead choosing to form an Irish Parliament in Dublin in 1919. This action would spark the War of the Independence that saw the Irish Republican Army brought together to fight for, well, an Irish Republic. The Anglo-Irish Treaty drawn up in 1921 would see a partitioned Ireland, one to be split between the mostly Catholic nationalist South and the mostly Protestant loyalist North. However, there was a catch, as there was a significant Catholic minority present in Northern Ireland. There was also a substantial amount of people generally not pleased with the treaty, refusing to recognise the compromised Irish Free State, and certainly refusing to recognise a British Northern Ireland. The stem of the IRA would break off as the anti-treaty IRA and fight in a civil war, only to be put down in 1923 and have the Free State be affirmed. These wars had caused a drift in Northern Ireland. The Protestant majority now suspected and occasionally feared the Catholic minority, who had grown to see the Protestants as oppressive and tyrannical.
Now, I've heard people talk about, because my whole point is if a specific people in the area want to join the British, then they should be allowed to. If they want to continue to stay with the Irish, they should be allowed to do that. It should be the will of the people that determine, where that particular part of the country stays or goes. I did hear someone mention something about gerrymandering, which in and of itself is a horrible practice that affects, anybody that gets caught up in it. As a Black American, trust me, I know all about gerrymandering. But again, context, I don't know a lot about like how true that is. I don't know anything about the districts in Ireland, so I don't know, or Northern Ireland, so I don't know like what it looks like. But if that is the case, then that does definitely muddy things. I think maybe you should just take the areas that have specific groups of people and just have them vote specifically on what they want to do. People in an area that's not in the same area as, like, let's say Protestants in one area should not necessarily be able to speak on what the area of Catholics want. Those Catholics should be able to vote and choose what they want to do, but then the Protestants should be able to choose and, do what they want to do. So if certain areas of Northern Ireland want to stay with Ireland, then they should be allowed to. If certain areas want to go to Britain, they should be allowed to. I mean, if you want to fracture it like that, it seems like that would be the best option for me. Who knows? Maybe every 10 years or so, they should just constantly have a vote. And it's just constantly changing how North Ireland lives based on who is in that area at the time or whatever. Like, just something that updates it or something. I don't know. If I knew the solutions, then I would be a lot more than just a regular ass YouTuber. But yeah, you guys have to run some ideas by me, and try to keep the comment section civil, please.
Over the course of several decades, segregation became normalized between the two communities. In hiring, education, and housing, Protestants and Catholics rarely mixed. The anti-treaty IRA still existed, however dormant. It had begun to see an influx of Marxists, much to the annoyance of the older, more traditional members. In the early 60s, Northern Ireland became subject to a civil rights movement, set on highlighting the inequalities in the province. Staunch loyalists feared it as an IRA front, a facade made to lead to a united Ireland.
I could have sworn I saw somewhere, there was a video of, I think, Malcolm X or someone from the Nation of Islam, like, going out to meet some people in Ireland as a way of, like, I forgot what they were meeting for, but they were, like, I guess just, like, talking about the same, like, they're having the same struggle kind of and things like that. I could be wrong, but that is interesting. Like, I never saw anything like that until I saw that video of, I believe it was Malcolm X and them meeting with the Irish. I could be wrong, but...
Lists feared it as an IRA front, a facade made to lead to a united Ireland. Civil rights protests began set on high national members. In the early 60s, Northern Ireland became subject to a civil rights movement, set on highlighting the inequalities in the province. Staunch loyalists feared it as an IRA front, a facade made to lead to a united Ireland. Civil rights protests began to lead to riots, as both partisan loyalists and the Royal Ulster Constabulary wished to crack down upon them. This led to a great number of Catholics rejecting the RUC's authority, attempting to create their own institutions, as seen in the self-declared autonomous area of Free Derry. Tensions had been rising steadily since 1966 and would climax in '69. A Protestant parade was set to move through a Catholic area of London Derry, or whatever you want to call it so you don't get mad. Protestants and Catholics would initially begin slinging any old crap at each other, leading to clashes. As the police moved in to crack down, battles erupted. This is known as the Battle of the Bogside. Hundreds of police and civilians were injured in the riots, and the officers of the constabulary would be pushed from the Bogside area. By the third day of rioting, things had become intense, and the Northern Irish Prime Minister requested British troops to relieve the officers. A battalion would intervene as a neutral force to separate the residents from the police and bring an end to the battle.
If I didn't know that he was talking about Ireland, I would have looked at these pictures and thought that this was 1960s America. Like, it looks just like that as far as, like, the civil rights movement and the resistance from the police and the riots that were going on at the time.
And the Northern Irish Prime Minister requested British troops to relieve the officers. A battalion would intervene as a neutral force to separate the residents from the police and bring an end to the battle. With the news of the battle spreading quickly, agitated Irish nationalists began to break out in protest, and the Ulster Loyalists, fearing a total uprising, began to clash with nationalists, causing widespread violence across Northern Ireland. With an overwhelmed and accusedly biased constabulary not of much help, the British Army would have some serious trouble maintaining law and order. The army had initially been welcomed as a neutral force into the Troubles. The nationalists and loyalists both believed the army was there to protect them from the other. As the violence continued, however, some nationalists began to believe too little was being done to quell the violence against them. The divide in the population was clear, but beneath the surface another divide had formed.
There you go, see that divide right there?
The divide in the population...
There, just split it like that, and problem solved. I know that's extremely simplified, but there you go.
Was clear, but beneath the surface another divide had formed. In the IRA, the traditionalist Republicans broke away from the Marxist bunch due to the perceived unwillingness of their leaders to protect nationalist communities. This new provisional IRA would soon dwarf its paternal organisation. They had, though, inherited a crumbling support. Few wanted the help of a paramilitary gang. This changed when in the Battle of St. Matthews in 1970, the local IRA beat back an armed loyalist mob in a shootout, serving to guard a Catholic nationalist enclave. It was a significant propaganda victory for the organisation. The British Army looked to disarm this violence. It would enter the infamous Falls Road area of Belfast, a nationalist stronghold, to seize arm dumps. They were thorough and harsh in their action, doing a significant disservice to their reputation. In the Falls Curfew, the army would come under harassment from both the IRA and angered residents, leading to the unfortunate death of 4 civilians. In August of 1971, the British Army and RUC would undertake Operation Demetrius, which sought to intern paramilitary members. However, their list held a strong nationalist bias, and the operation itself was subject to fumbles, leading to an upsurge in reactionary violence. Those interned reported torture. 2 IRA members were killed, 2 soldiers had also been killed, not to mention 20 civilians. It wasn't a good look, to say the least. With nationalist support of the army at an all-time low, and the hopes of defeating the IRA militarily dashed, the soldiers would be turned to local policing, checkpoint duty, and riot control. The unpopular policy of internment continued as well. Imprisonment without trial was seen as the only logistical way to deal with the unrest. In January of 1972...
That seems like a horrible idea. That's just going to backfire and lead to more resistance.
Both the army and the police were deployed to oversee an anti-internment march in Derry. British paratroopers were present, and they had been despised for their role in killing 11 people during Operation Demetrius. Small groups began to lob rocks at the paratroopers, provoking the paratroopers to open fire in return. The crowd would quickly devolve into chaos. 28 people would be shot and 14 died. Given the circumstances of their deaths, the paratroopers were decried for their actions, and the British Army at large felt the ire of the nationalists, Catholics and more. In what would become known as Bloody Sunday, it had put a definite end to any idea of a honeymoon.
I'm gonna have to look up Bloody Sunday now. It didn't really go into
yes, I know this part was short, but tough tits. You'll get another one eventually, so don't suck. Until then, I don't know. Just pledge to my Patreon or something. That's usually what cool people do. Toodles.
Okay, so if you want to see his Patreon, go to the original video in my description box. It'll take you to his original video. Go to the description box of that, and the Patreon link will be there. Chances are it's probably just patreon.com/his name. So just patreon.com/future history. Maybe it'll pop up. Now I will have to be sure to check out that second part because I have done one video about the Irish Independence War, I believe it was called, and it had a lot of information, but a lot of it just went right over my head, so I don't remember a ton about it. I will be checking out part 2 within the next day or so, be on the lookout for that. And that's pretty much it. If you have any information, leave it in the comment section down below. I am somebody that I've already said I have no idea of any of the details about this, so there's a lot of stuff that, as far as references are concerned, I probably won't be able to grasp. The only thing I can really do is connect them to things that I'm familiar with. Like, I see a lot of parallels with the Civil Rights Movement. I see a lot of parallels with what African Americans went through in America. I would like to get more information about this type of stuff. I do have to look up more about Bloody Sunday. I know the name. I know U2 had a song about it. That's all I really know. I hadn't even heard the U2 song, so maybe that's another reaction I need to do at some point. I just know that they have a famous song about it. But yeah, this is kind of like it's like a rabbit hole that has a lot, like, it could lead to a lot of different content that I can react to, because this is a period that a lot of people probably don't know a lot about. I know I don't know a lot about it. So this is an opportunity to learn more. But yeah, like I said, I would like to see more of what you have to say in the comment section down below. Do try to keep it civil, please. I know that this topic, given how recent it is historically and how many subscribers I have that are from the UK and Ireland, I'm sure there's a lot of people that have kind of established their like where they stand on the issue. Just know this channel is a place for everybody to give their opinions. If you don't agree with an opinion, that's fine, but it is just somebody else's opinion. It doesn't change your opinion. It doesn't change the outcome. Somebody else is free to believe whatever they want to believe, and that's what this channel has always been about. This is nobody's safe space, and I don't want to see anybody in the comment section telling somebody else to shut up, because that's not what this is about. Now, I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say. I am Devon DaVinci. Hopefully you've been enlightened. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share. Check out Feature History. If you want to check out their Patreon, again, To get their link, you go to the original video, and in their description box, you should see it right there. And until then, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. So I'll see you on a future video tomorrow. Second part comes out. And until then, I'm going to give you the deuces, and I'm signing out. Deuces.